Boom, we are live. It is December 1st, 2024, and it is 7:30. There is no place I would rather be than here with you, which looks like nobody is on, which is fine. There was no, I didn't really advertise this and was not expecting to be able to fit it in, but I feel if as a boots on the ground operator of a high performance real estate team located here in Southeast Florida, I think it is imperative that I empower you with the best information so that you are able to make the best decisions for yourself, for your family, and for your financial bottom line. Now, Florida home sales are crashing. Here's what you need to know. And lots has changed. I thought to lead this video off like I've done in the past, where I share some of what other content creators are putting out there. I've elected not to do that because it's just a complete waste of time. But if you look at some of the people that are out there, if you look at the Reventure Consultings, if you look at the Saks Realties, if you look at the Michael Bordeneros, and many others out there, they are all feeding you the same nonsense, which is headline fear porn, which will terrify you into indecision and completely misguide you if, in fact, you are actually looking to accomplish something in today's real estate or housing market. So I can fabricate a story the best, the best of my ability. Anybody else can spin anything they want to make you feel a certain type of way. I have learned that the numbers don't lie. So if we look at what the numbers are, it will be instructive for you to know exactly what's happening in the markets that you are shopping in. And if you are thinking about buying or selling anywhere, you must know granularly what the hyperlocal numbers and market is wherever you're thinking about buying or selling. So if you need help with that, we are always happy to help you. If you are local, we're happy to do it ourselves. If you are out of state or out of my market, we will definitively connect you with someone who absolutely knows how to advocate for you the right way, irrespective of market conditions, knows how to negotiate the right way for you to ensure if you're looking for a home, you get the best deal possible. If you're looking to sell, we create a market within a market which virtually guarantees that you find the one buyer on planet Earth willing to pay more than anybody else. Now, before I get into the numbers, and the numbers, to be clear, are real time. They are as of yesterday. So we're going to know everything that happened in November. And today's December 1st. It's Sunday. We won't know today's data until tomorrow, but you won't get this information anywhere else. Every other real estate organization that's out there will report this information a month from now. A month from now is a day late and a dollar short. If you are looking at it, if you are looking at it to read the tea leaves, it's an academic exercise with no economic value. Everything that you're reading is outdated, obsolete, and irrelevant. So it's critical to know what's happening in real time. Have your finger on the pulse of the market. And with all that in mind, enough out of me, we're going to do a deep dive. We're going to start macro. Okay. So we're going to cover Palm Beach County. We're going to cover Broward County. We're going to cover Dade County. We're going to start with single family homes. We'll then do a macro overview of what the condo markets are in each of those counties. Then from there, we'll get more granular into the prime cities that I cover, and I'll be happy to cover any other cities that you'd like me to, assuming that I have access to them. Let's see here. Do we have, hey, Christina Smallhorn, how are you? I don't wear boots on the ground. I wear sensible sneakers. Of course you do. And they are very sensible. And I am typically not very sensible. But one thing we can all agree on, the future looks bright. So shout out to PBD, and let's get into what the numbers are right now. Okay. I'll give a couple case studies as we're going through this because I met with some sellers. Here we go. Sellers today they actually have what's up, Linda in Colorado? They actually have their home listed with another agent right now. They are friends of mine, right? So it's not like I'm trying to poach somebody's listing or anything like that, but they're dissatisfied with the way the home is being marketed. They're dissatisfied with the amount of activity they've seen on the property. And while they're sharing their concerns with me, I knew instantly why they're not getting the results they want. And I also know what the solution to getting them what they want is. So there's a lot I would do differently, but right now, and the numbers are going to show this definitively. So I'll go into that market specifically. But if you are in a market and there's competition and there's lots of listings on the market that are similar to yours, the way for you to create that market within the market is to intentionally underprice the home. Now, that doesn't mean that you accept an underpriced offer, but there are lots of tactics that can be used for you to, as a real estate professional, for you to block out the week in front of your mega open house, drive everybody who's interested in this underpriced home. Just like the frenzy we had when interest rates were lower, that frenzy was caused by the government and a lot of or the Fed or whomever who you want to blame it on. But there was lots to done that was done to incentivize buyers to buy homes. Obviously, none of that's happening right now. Mortgage rates are going up, they're not going down. Lots of people predicted it would be the other way around. I wasn't one of them. I always tell you the truth, and I could be wrong, but the numbers don't lie. Now, that being said, if you do it that way and you pivoted everyone to the same 2 hour or 3 hour or 4 hour block for a week, well, then chances are you got lots of folks who are qualified buyers that are all house horny and will see the competition. They will get competitive. They will create their own frenzy. They will drive the price of the property higher. And if you word it correctly and disclose it correctly, you can give your sellers all of the leverage in order for them to not have to accept any offer unless their terms are met. You can build that into the listing and into the contract and be very transparent so nobody thinks you're pulling a fast one on them. But you can definitively find the one buyer on planet Earth willing to pay more than anybody else, irrespective of market conditions. Now, that being said, what happened to the couple with the flooded home and no flood insurance? I know, so great question. Um, let me let me work my way into all this because there's a lot I need to cover, and I will answer that. Actually, I'll answer it right now. They hit the lottery. They got lucky. They did leave. They didn't have insurance. They I think they went to Miami, and they were spared. Right, so the hurricane did not hit them with anywhere near the impact that they were predicting it would, which means they got extremely lucky, but they were spared. Their house, their electric car did not blow up, but all of those risks were possibilities. I made that video because I was terrified and I wanted people to be aware that when you have a category 5 hurricane coming your way, it's not something you want to be lucky with. You want to prepare yourself, you want to be insured, you want to do everything possible to ensure that you're safe, your property is safe. And I just didn't feel they were doing that the right way and weren't taking it seriously. But they got lucky, and I guess they got the last laugh. Ha ha! I was wrong. I want to be wrong. I don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't want anybody to lose their property. I don't want anybody to lose money. But thank God they were fine. And with all that in mind, I almost forgot. We just had Thanksgiving. I am very thankful to everybody here. I'm thankful to all of my friends, my family, my clients, and certainly to everybody that's watching here. I hope you guys had a fantastic Thanksgiving. So much to be thankful for. Now, what I do want to discuss, and I'll lead this off with, let's start with some numbers and then I'll jump into the unaffordability that most people, a lot of folks, don't seem to fully appreciate and or understand. So right now, I hope, let's see here, review on StreamYard. Okay, cool. So looks like this is able to be seen by you. So now keep in mind, this is current. I am starting macro. I'm starting in Palm Beach County. Palm Beach County is a very pricey place to live, period. It is not inexpensive. Um, Looking at single family homes. Now, I can break this down into all type of different products. I'm not going to do that because we'll be here all day. But I do want you to see what single family homes go for, what the average is in Palm Beach County. And then from there, we're going to go into Broward. We're also going to go into Dade, and then we'll hit some of the cities, get more granular as we go through it. But I want you to not have sticker shock. I want you to know the reality of what the market is as of October, not October, as of November, not time for some monster because my brain is not working right. But this is the most current information that there is, period. And this is exactly what the numbers are for October versus September, and then November versus October. So let's start with the average active price in October. It was up 3.8% versus September, right? It's a little bit of a backward look, gives you some perspective, but it increased in the 3.8% in the average active listing price. Major disparity between the sold price and the active price. And that's because there's a major disparity in pricing in Palm Beach County. So keep in mind, this is just average, right? Average sold price up 6%. Same distortion is happening in October versus November. Am I getting that right? No. November versus October. You can see a 3% increase in the average active price, and the average sold price is up 7.3%, 849 versus 791. Now, I can promise you, as we go into Palm Beach County, there are going to be markets within those markets that trade significantly higher and significantly lower. So there are product types and there are prices that you are likely able to afford within Palm Beach County, but it's a very, very wide net that we're looking at right now. But it's not decreasing, it's increasing. There is a scarcity of resource. There is no more land to develop in Palm Beach County or Broward County or Dade County. There is almost no land to develop unless you go further north and west. And that's what's happening right now. So I don't like it. There are some farms, some agriculturally zoned parcels right now that are in the process of being challenged. There are developers that are looking to develop anything that they can get their hands on. I would prefer they did not do that. There are some uh, farmers I'm friends with that have been here for generations, and they said they would never sell. But money talks and bullshit walks, and the numbers are just so insanely high, and the scarcity of resource is so insanely low that everybody's got a price. So we're looking at West Boynton, where I live, which used to be primarily vacant. It used to be primarily tree farms. It used to be very rural and agricultural. And then the Everglades, it's not like that anymore. It's now like a more modern Delray or more modern Boca Raton. It's getting built up really fast, and there's no more room for development. So there is a scarcity of resource. But all that being said, the average sold price in Palm Beach County as of October, or excuse me, November, is 849. So from there, I want you to see what that looks like in terms of real cost, because a lot of people don't seem to understand what it really costs to buy a home. And yes, there are all types of programs out there. There are all types of incentives from builders that will allow you to get a lower mortgage interest rate or negotiate a better deal depending on what the market conditions are. So I'm seeing that there are builders that are offering lots of incentives that they didn't used to. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I've talked about that. When builders start incentivizing the market to buy their product, it is a leading indicator that there's weakness in the market. We're going to see if that's true or not. I can already tell you that it is, but we'll let the numbers speak for themselves because anybody can say anything and the numbers don't lie. But from there, I want to share this tab. And this is probably not granularly accurate, but it gives you a ballpark figure, right? So if the average home price in Palm Beach County is 850 and a 20% down payment is $170,000, this is not going to be a starter home for most folks. A 30-year fixed at 7.38%, which is what it is as of today, at least as of Google, which is why I'm using it, with property taxes included. And this is a ballpark figure. You can get far more granular if you find the home that you want and it's a resale. You can go to the property tax site and get very specific information. A title company will also give you very specific information. And if you're working with me, I'll make sure you have the most accurate information. But these are decent ballparks, right? It costs about $6,000 a month. just to live in the home. Does not include most of the other cost of living things that you're going to need to pay, like your car, like groceries, like gym memberships, like gas, like whatever. It is very pricey to live in Palm Beach County, period. And do I think that's sustainable? No. Does it matter what I think? No, because the markets will go up, the markets will go down. The Fed will play games till it is blue in the face. And yes, we do have a new mandate in office for Trump. We do have lots of things that are going to change, I believe, on a governmental systemic recalibration of the government. I think all of that's good. I don't know though. Who knows what's going to happen? But I do think there will be more productivity. I do think there will be lots of things that make the US more competitive. And in the interim, all I know is that there are 900 people who move to Florida on a daily basis. So there are people who are moving to Florida primarily in the areas that I live, Southeast Florida, and that's just not slowing down. I get more people who opt in on a weekly basis, not as, to be clear, not as much as during the frenzy, but still 3 to 5 people a week are reaching out. They want me to help them find their dream home and dream lifestyle. And others, I saw I forget who I forgot who the creator was, but the title of the video, which I think it got 50,000 views or something like that, was fake rich. If you've been watching for a while, you've heard me use the term fake rich. There are lots of people in my market right now that are fake rich. And it's not an attack on them. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just the reality of what it is. They are overextended. They may have been, most people in Florida who bought over the last few years or outside of the last few years are sitting on a metric shit ton of home equity. Home equity is not real until it's realized. So some of them are using their house as a piggy bank. Some of them refinanced into better terms. Some of them, I've talked to some people who said, we've got a 2% or 2.3% or 3% mortgage. We're never selling ever. And then inflation has skyrocketed and their income hasn't. And they've bought all the toys that they thought they needed to have. And those people who said they would never sell are now likely to sell because it's their only option. And I'm watching that uptick on a daily basis. We are, as consumers in the United States, not everybody, but a lot of folks are drowning in debt. The government is drowning in debt. We are up to the wazoo or up to our eyeballs in debt, and debt eats equity. Debt is no bueno. So I do suspect that there are going to be more people forced to sell. I don't think it's going to look anything like what it did last time because I think the reasons for the crash last time were very different. But there are lots of folks who are going to be squeezed out of their home because it's their only option. And I talk to people like this on a regular basis. They are moving to other parts of Florida. They are moving out of state. And there's nothing wrong with that, but they thought they would never sell and they thought they were protected because they had home equity. It's not true until it's true, or other way around. But long way of getting to it's pricey to buy an average price point in Palm Beach County. So if you don't have $6,000 a month, which again isn't, that's just your total monthly payment for the loan and taxes. If there's an HOA, it's more expensive and it doesn't include anything else. So that 6 grand probably means you need 10 or 15 or 20 to live the lifestyle that you want a month. If that is not you, then do not buy the home here. It's not right for you, and only do what's right for you, period. And anybody who applies sales pressure to try to force you to do something that's not in your best interest, run from them. They're no good. They're not going to help you in any way. And I don't want anybody to live in a way or in a manner that they don't want to, right? It's only what's best for you. But this is what it is. And now let's get more into the data. Okay, so we did Palm Beach County single family homes. For shits and giggles, let's look at what the condo market looks like. Because condos, as we know, are subject to new assessments. And these new assessments, they're not really all that new, but they're getting hit with these massive assessments. And if you can't pay for this assessment, you will be squeezed out of the home. And I talked a little bit earlier about people who may be getting forced out of their own home. There are opportunistic investors that are sitting on the sidelines with trillions of dollars of money, cash, liquidity, that want to capitalize on your pain and misfortune. They want to scoop in and buy everything they can, period. And so when we saw the hurricane hit the opposite coast, which thankfully we were spared from, there are always going to be opportunistic vultures. And I don't even say that negatively. Cash seeks its highest value, and there's a reason why people stay liquid for opportunistic opportunities. But they're cash rich and they're waiting to pounce on undervalued situations that they can max out for the future. So you will see hedge funds, you will see institutional buyers sitting on the sidelines waiting for the right deals. But the condo market, I suspect, is going to be rich with lots of those types of deals. If the building is not able to collect the assessments in order to fortify the building the right way, that building will be fire sale to an investor who will knock it down and build something bigger, newer, more expensive, and price folks out. They don't care. They want a profit, period. And I suspect that's going to happen in many places. I think Palm Beach County is more insulated than other places because, as an example, I know Boca Raton has been in front of this years ago. Those assessments, those fortifications, they're in front of that. But I know for certain there are places in Miami that are not like that. There are places all up and down the coast that are not like that. Most folks who are on a fixed income don't have the money to stroke a check, period. They're on fixed incomes and they're in real trouble. I'm terrified for them. But it is what it is. That's not what I want it to be. It's just the reality of how the market works. And the market doesn't care about my feelings or your feelings. The market is always right. Okay, so we are looking at Palm Beach County. We are looking at condos. Again, this is November versus October. I'm going to skip past October versus September, but what you'll see is the average active price for a condo on the market in November is up 4.3%. Again, big distortion in pricing. It's almost double, not quite, but close. Um, there's a massive disparity in pricing in Palm Beach County, and this is the average, right? But the average active price, 700, up 4.3%. Average sold price, just under 500, up 3.5%. I see people on a daily basis who have been brainwashed by the fact that they believe the market is crashing, and yet there's no evidence of that. Period. End of story. It just isn't true. What is true is there are much more opportunities for you to be able to negotiate a much better deal depending on what it is that you're looking for. There are some markets in my market that are white hot. There are others that are ice cold. And depending on what it is you're looking for and where you're looking for it, we're able to negotiate the best deal for you. But it is what it is. But do your own research, do your own due diligence. Ensure you know what's happening wherever it is that you're shopping in or thinking about selling in, because the, the mainstream media and the content creators that happen to be in this space tend to want to terrify you to click on their video, monetize through that, and monetize through other things. They don't care about selling you a home or selling your home. They want clicks, views, and God bless them. They're doing great. Not knocking anybody or naming anybody out there. Like we're all good, but they're not producers. They don't actually work in the market. So if you don't know what's happening in your local market, please find a professional who does, and they'll be able to advocate and negotiate for you the right way. All right, so this is a lot of talking, and we got a lot of data to cover. So that's Palm Beach County. We did Palm Beach County, single family homes and condos. From there, let's go to Dade and let's look at single family homes. You will find that it's pricey. We're talking about Miami. We're talking about the 305, not a game. Not a game. We're talking about practice. All right. So what do we see? In October versus September, average sold price jumped damn near 8%. Okay. 929 versus 862. And in November versus October, we see a decrease of about 5%, right? So almost a wash. But average sold price is 884 versus 930. And that's what it is. The average active price you'll see is higher, 1 point almost 1.6 versus a little bit less than that, 1.530, up 3%. It is what it is. There's typically a disparity between what sellers think their home is worth and what a buyer is willing to pay. But we're also talking about a big market and lots of outlier prices, which distort these numbers. So the macro number is not going to necessarily be instructive to you if you're shopping somewhere specific, but the trend is helpful and we'll continue to monitor the trend. What's the month supply of inventory look like? Great question. I don't think I answered that before for Palm Beach County, so I will go backwards. But what you can see, look at that chart. It's like a roller coaster. Up, 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 up. Wow. Up, 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 and then maybe we shall see. But 9.7 months versus 8.9, October versus September. Again, single family homes in Dade County up 9%. And then whammy, up 38% in November. So 8.3 months. 8.3 months and 9.7 months is a strong buyer's market, not a seller's market, a buyer's market. If you're shopping for a home in this area, chances are you've got a lot of leverage in order to get a much better deal, which is great if you're thinking about buying. Let's go back to Palm Beach County because I don't think I talked about the month's supply of inventory, which is always a mistake. And I want to be thorough. So we are now looking at single family homes, month supply of inventory, and the pattern looks similar, and the roller coaster looks similar to Dade County as far as single family homes go. But what you'll see 5.6 months in October, 7.6 months in November, a jump of almost 36%. That's a big jump in inventory. There's a lot of homes sitting on the market unsold. Phenomenal news if you're thinking about buying. Not so great if you're thinking about selling. And really not great going back to the test study or the case study of the people I talked to earlier today who are not thrilled with their agent because they don't have the results they expected or were led to believe they might get. That's because they didn't create a market within the market. That's okay. I suspect they'll be calling me soon. But that's single family homes. I want to do condos because I want to make sure you got all the information that you need. And did that reset? Yep. Okay. So, wow. Wow, 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 wow. All right. So, month's supply of inventory in terms of condos in Palm Beach County is massive, up almost 60%, right? A jump of 17.4 months versus 11. That is a massive uptick in terms of inventory. And when you have massive inventory and no buyers to buy that inventory, you would expect that there is going to be a depreciation of price relatively soon. Um, so far, as we already mentioned, that really didn't happen. That doesn't mean it won't happen. It just takes time. And if you've been watching this for a while, you know I used to be a stockbroker. I did that for 20 years. I suspect that when we see a massive correction in the market, stock market, when we see a massive, well, if anything systemic happens, well, then just know there's going to be hell to pay everywhere. But I do believe the leading market that is going to crash first is not housing. It's going to be the equities market. And when it does, you can set your clock that 5 to 7 years later is when real estate will catch up to that. And then you're going to see fire sale prices. But so far, we haven't seen anything like that. And again, I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. That's how it happened the last time. And I suspect it will likely be similar at some point in the future. But hopefully,
We get some of our deficit spending and some of our governmental policies back to reality-based accounting, but who knows? All right, so we did Dade, we did Palm Beach. We're now looking at Broward County. Broward County is a great place to live. I used to live in many cities within Broward County. I now live in Palm Beach. But let's look at average for sale price, average active price, and average sold price. So October versus September. 1.618 up 3.8%. In terms of active average listing price, average sold price up 4.2%, 813 versus 780. And then what you can see is that there's a downtick, a decrease, depreciation, a sharp stick in the eye of 2.2%, 783 versus 801. And again, wide disparity versus active average price and sold price. But again, there's a massive amount of homes that are much higher. So it is not uncommon for there to be a disparity there, but it is what it is. All right, months supply of inventory. Broward County, uptick of 38.2%. 5 months jumped to damn near seven. Well, if you're thinking about buying a single family home in Broward County, you've got more leverage depending on where you're at. And speaking of where I'm at, I should probably go back to StreamYard to see some of these comments here. And wow, we got a big jump in people watching. We got 33 folks here live. So thank you so much for being here. There's no place I would rather be than here with you right now, telling you the truth, what's happening in real time. So you are empowered to make the best decisions for yourself. Okay, here we go. What did I miss? Texas has been seeing a lot of properties go up for sale after having bought just 3 to 5 years ago. Not sure what's up with that. Many just sit on the market for months. Yeah. I'm curious where you're at in Texas because I've got some friends in Austin. I've got some friends in Houston. I've got some friends in other areas within Texas, and those markets can vary wildly. But yeah, there are a lot of folks that bought a home 2 years ago or 3 years ago at damn near the top. And a lot of those folks are reevaluating their financial future. A lot of those folks are really starting to face the music, come to Jesus, and determine whether it was the right choice for them. There's a lot of folks that have to relocate for other reasons, right? Um, I don't know why people sell. I just know that most people don't see the light until they're at the courthouse steps, right? Nobody settles a lawsuit until they're at the courthouse steps and about to face the music. And I suspect there's lots of folks that are burying their heads in the sand right now as to where they're at financially. And that is unfortunate. That's why I do these live streams. I want people to see what's happening in real time, because if you're struggling now, I don't expect there's going to be some miracle that saves you in the near term. And I don't know what's right for you. What I do know is if you must sell, we will find you the one buyer on planet Earth willing to pay more than anybody else right now. If you must buy, I know we're going to find your dream home, your dream lifestyle, and get you the best deal possible, period. Anything outside of that, I can't guarantee. But I will guarantee you know what's happening in real time. When are we getting 30% off? Well, it's shit. It's still Black Friday sales, right? So go on Amazon, find something that's trading 30% off. It's probably been marked up 60% off, and they're only netting 30% now. But you're more likely to find 30% off there than you are in the Florida housing market, at least anywhere near where I live, period. Um, I would love to, if you BB21, I would love, absolutely love for the market to get cut in half right now. That would be amazing. For some reasons, for some people, right? It's not like I want that to happen for everybody or anybody to get hurt, but if that were to be true, or if I found that opportunity right now because someone must sell, well, then there are investors who will scoop that up all day long, me being one of them. Um, they are not reproducing more land anywhere here in Florida. It is a scarce resource, period. And let's just pretend this is going to be a little fun exercise we play. Let's pretend right now you buy a home at its all-time high, right? Today. I'm making up numbers. You buy $1 million home, it's the highest price point in your neighborhood that's ever been paid for a single family home. Okay, well, you did that. And you did it because you know you can afford it. And you ran your numbers and you feel safe with your income and your lifestyle and all the things. You've checked all the boxes to be prudent and disciplined and make a responsible decision. But you buy this all time high price. And then tomorrow, the market crashes and your home is worth zero. Well, nothing's changed, number one. And if you've done the homework and you've done your research and you're confident in your job and you've done your own, um, you've satisfied yourself that you were comfortable with the decision that you made the day before, nothing's changed. And the equity in your home, which is now zero, which by the way, that's impossible. That's never going to happen. But if your home was cut in half the next day, well, over time, the market will rebound and it might take time. It might take 5 years. It might take 10 years. It might take 20 years. I don't know. I don't think it will take that long. I suspect it won't, especially in my market. But what I do know is that the market will continue to trade. And eventually, what you bought at an all time high, which went to an all time low, will eventually trade at a newer, higher all time high. Period. That's the way it works. Unless there's nuclear war, at which point everybody's dead anyway. So don't pay your mortgage and God bless America. Um, Four lifers. This is me and Janelle. Janelle, hi, Dad. This is Sawyer. Sawyer in the house. What's up, girl? Sawyer is my daughter, and I love her very much. I hear you, baby. Send more comments. I need more engagement. I love you. Give me a hug. I almost missed your. This is the Brookster. Oh. Say hello to everybody. All right. Okay. Come on down. Come on down. Give me a hug. All right. You're shy. All right. Go. Thank you very much. All right. Let me finish what I'm doing. I love you. Yes, you put that comment. Very good. Good job. Okay. Bye bye. Love you very much. See you later. Let me finish. Bye. Oh, that was fun. All right. Thank you for indulging my parenting. All right, let's see here. So when are we getting 30% off? No time soon, at least in my market. I don't suspect that's going to happen. And when things change, when the market crashes, when Armageddon happens, well, then maybe you'll get 30% off, but there will be a significant amount of competition for that property that's in distress. Just know that. All right. This where Sun City, Florida, paid 500 in 2021. Upscale golf community house is absolutely gorgeous. Upgrades galore. Listed last week. Exact traffic with 14 physical visits. Well, 14 visits in a week is pretty good. Drop my list price 20,000, but no buyer yet. Well, Richard, I think they say there's some Catholic ritual that I've heard people do where they bury a saint upside down and it's supposed to give them good luck. I've got no evidence. I've got no data to support that, but I've heard people do that. I'm not suggesting that's what you should do here, but there's three reasons why properties don't sell, right? Price, condition, and marketing. If you've had 14 people that were qualified buyers into your property, I would tell you you are very close to getting an offer. If you dropped it 20K and no buyer yet, I would tell you to be patient. But um, I'm also curious what happened the second week. So 14 visits the first week. When you say 14 physical visits, I'm assuming that means you've got 14 qualified buyers that have come to your property and physically laid eyes on the property, right? If that's true, then I would tell you that you are very likely to receive a contract very soon. It does take more time than it used to in order to get a contract. Um, if you were to market it differently. So sometimes what I like to do, if my seller trusts me and agrees to to the strategy, which has worked for me 100% of the time. I will radically underprice the home. And so I'm going to just pretend, well, I'll role play with you, Richard, what that would look like, right? So I get your listing, I block it out for a week, right? I've done all of the things that must be done. We've done professional pictures, we've done professional video, we've called and canvassed the area. We've marketed it to our buyers. And what makes me a little bit different than most is that most of my clients find me on YouTube. They opt in. So if you want to meet me, my email is on the bottom of the screen. My website is underneath my name. And my phone number and contact information is everywhere underneath the video. So people who want to hire me do so, right? And I've got a database of those folks who are shopping for particular homes, specific homes in different neighborhoods that are in the markets that I serve. So I've got a continuous database of people who are shopping for homes, which is fantastic for me as an operator of a high performance real estate team. But it's a value proposition that's different than most. Most agents tell you they have buyers, and what they really have is the MLS, which is not exactly buyers. I mean, it is buyers, but it's not their exclusive buyers. And they take pictures and they hope and pray that someone brings them a buyer. I'm not knocking that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not all that I do. But that being said, yes, all boxer checks. I will give you a holler. But so what I would do is block off that week, right? And again, we are intentionally underpricing it, right? So I don't know what the comps are. I can't give you any guidance as to how I want to price it, but I'll give you an example. I did this with an $800,000 property, or actually, take that back. A seller wanted $800,000 for his property, and let me think this for a second. Okay, I don't think I'm still sharing this screen. Maybe I am. Stop sharing. Okay. So mano y mano and 29 other people. But what we did, the seller who was listing with his son refused to listen to his son. His son did not have the right authority with his dad to convince him to price it the right way. So he asked me to intervene, and I did. And so I told him my plan, just like I shared it with you. We're going to radically underprice the home. We're going to block it off for a week. We're going to pivot everybody to a mega open house that we've advertised significantly that weekend. And what that will do is we will get a ton of people who reach out to me or to my team trying to get in early. And we're going to tell everybody no, nobody's allowed to see the property at all until the mega open house. So we pivot everybody to that Saturday, and I'm making up the times. But you're welcome to come between 1 and 4, period. It's on Saturday, and we look forward to seeing you there. Sellers are highly motivated. They'd love to put a deal together. And what they would do, now back then, and I can still do it now, but it's not as crazy as it once was. We would ask them, look, because of COVID and because of the way things are, we need to see your pre-approval before we allow you into the home. We need to see your proof of funds before we allow you into the home. The seller will not allow anybody to come into the home unless we check these boxes. So we knew for certain that everybody who was coming to this mega open house was a qualified buyer, or they were working with an agent that had a qualified buyer. But they all jumped over the hurdles that we put out there because the home was priced and marketed so attractively. This also creates an enormous amount of work for the real estate professional, because when you radically underprice a home, you're going to get every investor on planet Earth calling to try to put a deal together. And you're going to get lots of lowball offers. That's okay. That's the ante, right? You're also going to have lots of house horny folks that show up at the open house, and they're all going to see each other, and they're going to hear each other talk. They're going to know it is a competitive bidding market situation. And that's what I mean by creating a market within a market. That's what I mean by creating a frenzy when there might not be a frenzy anywhere else. But I'm also going to disclose in the broker notes and the public notes that this is intentionally underpriced to create a multiple bidding situation. The seller has final right of refusal on terms and conditions for the sale. So you're not locked into taking some crazy lowball offer. You're not locked into saying yes to anything. We can create language that protects you. And in the example that I shared earlier, it was the seller wanted 800, which was high at the time, and I listed it at 500, which was insanely underpriced. We ended up getting him 815, and he couldn't believe it. But the only reason we got 815 is because we had like 30 offers, and each one was willing to outbid the other, waive contingencies, waive appraisals, waive whatever needed to be waived. And we could do that because we had all the leverage. When you're selling, I want you or whomever it is to have all the leverage. And most agents simply don't do that. They wait for somebody to bring a buyer, and they overprice the home. So your home sits endlessly. And when you finally do get a buyer, you've got no leverage. And it's hard to manufacture leverage when your house has been sitting on the market unsold for 150 days or whatever the number is, right? This is just an example. So, yeah, well, super great strategy, create competition, proof of funds, love it, no tire kickers. Yeah, we don't want any tire kickers. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste their time. And if you're efficient and intentional and do these things the right way, as a real estate professional, you're going to get your sellers what you want. You can use the almost exact reverse strategy of what I just shared for buyers to ensure they get, when I know there's a home sitting on the market unsold for 150 days, I know I've got all the leverage and I can negotiate real aggressively for my buyers. So that was my little role play. Let's get back. Hopefully, Richard, that was helpful. All right, let me go back into the data. But the bottom line is, I want my clients to get what they want. I'm never going to talk anybody into doing something that isn't right for them. In fact, there are plenty of times where, when I'm doing my onboarding process for a buyer or a seller, if they start to tell me things that don't align with what they originally told me, I will talk them out of doing whatever the thing is that they said they didn't want to do, or at least warn them strongly that they're doing the opposite of what they said they wanted, because I don't want somebody to overextend themselves and then be house poor. I don't want somebody to do something that's against their own best self interest. And so I found, when you talk people out of doing something that they originally said they didn't want to do, the return on that is limitless. They will love you forever. They will trust you forever because you did what was right for them. I'm never going to do what's right for anybody other than them, because that's how my business grows. That's how I would want to be treated. But unfortunately, there's 90,000 agents in my market. Of those 90,000, only 1,000 do 10 deals or more. So there are lots of either part-time or half-assed realtors that will say whatever you want to hear and will give you a lot of bad information, which will lead to potentially you or somebody else making bad decisions that end up biting them in the ass. I don't want that. I would much rather have a client for life who doesn't do the deal that wasn't right for them, and eventually, a little bit later, or whenever it's right for them, does do the deal, and then they refer me to their friends and family forever. So everybody's different. That's how I roll. Okay, so we've covered Broward, we've covered Dade, we've covered Palm Beach County. Did we cover condos? I don't believe so. And at some point here, I will be yelling at my kids to go to bed. Please stop. Sounds like they're wrestling in the room next door. All right, so condos in Broward County are, let's see here. So October versus September, a jump of 8.3% in terms of average sold price. And you can see the condos are much lower priced in Broward than they were in Dade or they were in Palm Beach. Um, but it is what it is, right? Average sold price is up 0.6% in November, and that's what it is. Month supply of inventory. No, this is not the same roller coaster. This is the more extreme roller coaster, but you can wow, tremendous uptick in month supply of inventory for condos in Broward County. I can tell you that in Broward County, those condos are not in front of many of these assessments. There are lots of folks in Broward County on fixed incomes that are getting hit with assessments that they cannot afford. They're in real trouble, and I feel terrible for them. But it is, I mean, it is what it is. And the supply side kind of shows you that an uptick of 13% October versus September, and an uptick of 22% in November versus October. Please hold. Hey, girls, knock it off. I hear everything and your feet stomping and all of this. Knock it off. Do you understand? Thank you. All right. Um, they may or may not listen to what I asked them to do, but where am I? Am I sharing the screen? No, I'm not. Oh, Chris, you've done a terrible job sharing screens. Let's get with it, man. Bum, bum, bum. Here we go. So everything I just said is supported by this graph. Or excuse me, this chart. But you'll see month supply of inventory in November versus October jumped 22%, and it jumped 13% October versus September. Long way of getting to. And if you're shopping for a condo in Broward County, number one, first and foremost, you must ensure that it is up to speed with all of the regulatory hurdles that it needs to be. It needs its 40-year inspection. It needs to be passed the assessments. You need to make sure you're not buying something that's going to get hit with and they should, you would expect that most agents would disclose these things up front. They don't always, and that's unfortunate, but there are lots of deals that fall out of contract because they have not disclosed what needs to be disclosed to the buyers. Sometimes it's the agent's fault, sometimes it's the seller's fault. There are times where sellers try to keep secrets, and that never works. It's always doomed to fail. Eventually, usually right before the closing, is when these things do become obvious. And that's when the deal falls apart. But I don't want anybody's deal to fall apart. I want to ensure that the homework and the research has been done well before you're in the process of writing a contract, right? Okay, so from there, let's look at some more granular cities, right? So we did Palm Beach County, we started there. I am going to cover the cities that I'll actually look and see if we got any requests here. We don't. Okay, so let's start in Boca Raton. Boca Raton. I used to live in Boca Raton. Great place to live. My kids go to school there. Phenomenal. Very expensive place to live. Very affluent area. The best schools, and it's an ocean. You know, you've got the great thing about Boca, Boynton, Delray, Lake Worth. um, all of these cities stretch from the ocean to the Everglades. And so, one of the cool things about living here is, and I, for example, did it this holiday weekend. I watched the sunrise in the morning, went to the beach, watched the sunrise, brought my daughter, we played at the playground. I had intended to jump in the water, but thankfully I read the warning sign, which I don't necessarily always do. But thank God I did, because there were jellyfish and man o' war everywhere. And if I jumped into that ocean, well, then I probably wouldn't be doing this live stream, because I would be in such enormous pain from all of those jellyfish stings. But it's still cool to go. It's still always nice to see the sunrise. And on a perfect evening, I can go to the Everglades out west, watch the sunset, check out the gators. It is extremely pretty. It is extremely peaceful. It's extremely serene. And you kind of get the best of both worlds, living in any of these cities, because it's not that far to the beach or the Everglades. So for me, it takes me about 15 minutes in the morning to get to the beach. In the evening, it takes me about 15 minutes to get to the Everglades and watch the sun set. So it really is a great place to live. All of these cities are great places to live. But enough sales pitch. Boca Raton, we are looking at, come on, baby, average price for sale and sold. And what you'll see, again, Boca Raton is pricey. You don't get sticker shock here. Average active price in October versus September, 3,090,000 versus 3,066,000. To be clear, there are areas, again, this is a macro number. This is all of Boca Raton. There are some extremely pricey places to live in Boca Raton. There are also some very reasonable places to live in Boca Raton. But the numbers don't lie. The average sold price in October versus September was 175 versus 1651, up 6%. And in October, excuse me, in November, it was down 22%. That's a big hit, right? One point, it's still pricey though. 1.4, it's not exactly cheap. So who was the person who wrote where's the 30% off? BB21, you wanted 30% off. I told you to get a Black Friday sale while you still can before Amazon cancels it tomorrow, but I'm sure they'll have another Black Friday sale soon. But you can get 22% off right now in Boca Raton because the average sold price dropped from one set, let's just call it 1.8 to 1.4 in a month. No bueno if you're thinking about selling. And again, these numbers are distorted. These numbers will change. The more granular that you get, there are more affordable homes in Boca Raton, but there's no two ways about it. Boca Raton is a pricey place to live. Month supply of inventory. Let's look at it here. Woo-wee. Up 6% October versus September, up 46% in November versus October. Almost 8 months of inventory is a buyer's market, which means if you're shopping in Boca Raton, chances are you've got a lot of leverage to negotiate a better deal. Chances are, if you're thinking about selling, you're having a lot more competition. And so it will be critical to create a market within a market in order for you to find the one buyer on planet Earth willing to pay more than anybody else. But that's Boca Raton in a nutshell. And from there, let's look at condos. Okay. And this video is sponsored by Monster Energy because I don't know how I still have any energy today. Okay, average sold price for condos in Boca Raton, October versus September, down 8%, 514 versus 561, uptick 2.4%, 519 versus 507 in November versus October. So we're going to see volatility. I think we're going to see a hell of a lot more volatility as we continue to proceed into 2025. Who knows what's going to happen with the media or the government or whatever. And hopefully things do not escalate with Russia. But I do expect that we're going to continue to see lots of volatility within the markets. But the leading indicator that I'm looking for to give me any guidance as to when we can expect this crash to happen within housing will be led by the equities market, will be led by the stock market. If we see the market get cut in half for real, I'm not talking about intraday trading. I'm talking about something cataclysmic, something systemic. It may be banking. I don't know. There's been so much consolidation within the banking system that now it used to be that banks were too big to fail. Well, now there's only 3 or maybe 5 real banks that are out there. The rest have either collapsed or been consumed by those bigger banks. But we have financial distress within our economic markets, right? Our economy is in big trouble. Our Fed is in big trouble. Our Treasury is in big trouble. And money printing is not the solution. That is only a bigger problem. But at some point, if I don't know what will break, but if something within the system breaks and we see the market fail or the banking system fail, well, then from there, it's going to take, like I said, somewhere between 5 to 7 years for that to really play out and create rock bottom prices within the housing market, because the housing market is a lagging market. The stock market is a leading market. And that's just what it is. But I expect to see more volatility. I expect that mortgage interest rates are going to go higher before they go lower. I do believe that Trump is going to do lots of things to try to stimulate the economy and the market and real estate. All of that, I'm not going to put a value judgment on as to whether it's good or bad. I just know there are lots of folks that are priced out of the market right now in my that want to be in my market. I also know that there are lots of consumers, lots of homeowners that are on the fringe of being able to afford their lifestyle. So there are lots of things that I see that are risks or cracks that I see cracking in the market here locally. I don't think it's sufficient enough to create a massive crash. But that being said, I think it only took less than 10% of the market to be in distress last time. This is nationally to bring down the overall market by 30%. So it doesn't take much for there to be a run within the housing market. And there are lots of things that are terrifying if we look at the macro picture economically throughout the country. But again, each market's going to trade differently. And I believe that this market is more insulated than other markets, which doesn't mean it won't feel pain. Of course it will. Every market, when the market crashes, everybody feels pain. When the tide goes out, you know who's not wearing shorts. There's going to be a lot of people that feel it. But I also know that the demand to live in Florida in my market still is robust. And there are still 900 people that are moving here on a daily basis. And I still get phone calls and reach outs on a daily basis and a weekly basis from people just like you who found me on YouTube that want to hire me to either buy or sell for them. Right. And so also separately, I'm an opportunistic investor myself. So if I talk to somebody who's got an expired listing and doesn't understand why their home didn't sell, and they tell me they need to sell immediately, well, then I'm thinking to myself, how can I get a fire sale price? How can I get this house for 50% less than what they think it's worth? How can I put a deal together? And if I can't do that, I can easily find somebody who can. So there are lots of folks who are opportunistic, looking for distress in every market. It could be housing, it could be watches, it could be cars. And don't get me started on the car market because I think that's going to implode too. All right, and I think that will implode first. All right, so month supply of inventory, not surprising. Whoa, this no bueno. Boca Raton. We're talking about condos. Boca Raton condo market inventory skyrocketing up 36%, excuse me, October versus September, 10.2 months versus 7.5, and 19 months versus 10.3, up 84.2%. Not good if you're thinking about selling a condo, real good if you're thinking about buying one. But we have to see what the trend looks like moving forward. Right now, if you are thinking about selling, the trend is not your friend. I mean, if you're thinking about buying, it certainly is. And we want to help you max out South Florida living to the fullest. So there may be a condo in your future in Boca Raton. I don't know. Did I cover Boca Raton condos? Boca Raton condos down 8.4%, 514. I'm delirious at this point. I don't know if I already covered this. Average sold price 519 versus 507, but that's where we are as far as pricing. From Boca Raton, let's go to Delray Beach. Delray Beach. Let's go, Delray. It's 8:33. And shout out to Bobby Delray. I don't know if you're watching, but very nice guy who I met through the channel with a condo to sell here in Delray Beach. Ladies, stop it. Go to bed. I'll be in there in a minute. And by a minute, I mean an hour. Okay. We are looking at Delray Beach. We're not interested in condos right now. We are interested in single family homes. And let's see what the numbers say. Ooh, we average sold price dropped 6.2% October versus September and then went parabolic in November, up 21.1%. So the housing market crashing in Delray Beach did not happen in November. In fact, it's up 21.1%. No bueno if you're thinking about buying a home, but let's look what the inventory has said to us. Up 2% October versus September, and up, wow, that's a big jump. Up 67% November versus October. So damn near 10 months of inventory. More supply, less demand typically means prices come down. You would not know that by looking at the 22% gain that we saw so far in November, but we're in December. We'll see what happens. Typically, a lot of times people will say, because of seasonality, people don't buy in December. I have not found that to be the case. People are always shopping in Florida. And when you've got snowbirds in town, they typically want to find next year's property to live in if they are seasonally renting. So there is always a market in Florida. With it, at least within my market, I don't tend to see much of a slowdown in my own business with seasonality, but that's not how it is in other places. Obviously, weather is a major factor in other markets. It's not here. In fact, today, well, I mentioned I almost went into the ocean on Thanksgiving, but the jellyfish precluded me from doing that. So that's Delray Beach as far as single family homes. Condos. I'm going to try to speed this up because I feel like this is taking forever. And I appreciate the fact that you guys are still with me. Condos in Delray Beach are down 30% October versus September at 238 versus 342, and then up 71% in November, 427 versus 250. Um, Delray Beach, especially by the ocean, by Atlantic Avenue, it is an extremely trendy, nice coastal community. Atlantic Avenue is sick, all kinds of restaurants, all kinds of shops, all kinds of oceanfront lifestyle, really nice. There are townhomes, but there are no big buildings, right? So you've either got oceanfront homes that are or tens of millions of dollars plus oceanfront, or then you've got luxury townhomes and some condos, but no real big buildings. You've got some mid-rise buildings, but it's not zoned to big skyscrapers or anything like that. You can have that in Boca Raton. You can have that in other markets. Certainly, it's all over the place in Miami and in Broward, but Delray does not allow for that. So that's what it looks like in terms of pricing for condos in Delray Beach. Month supply of inventory, pretty flat overall. Again, it is a buyer's market, 11.5 months versus 12.2, and then it kind of reversed, 12.1 versus 11.6. But 12 months of inventory means if you're shopping, you've got lots of options. If you're selling, you've got lots of competition. And most of the areas that I described that are oceanfront are going to be priced very differently than what you're looking at here. But as you get into Central Delray or West Delray, there are going to be older properties that are much more affordable, lots of 55 plus communities, and lots of opportunity for you if you're shopping in that price point. All right, so I did Delray. Let's go into Boynton Beach, the city that I live, and let's see what that looks like. Let me just see if there are any comments. KV. People are saying that mortgage rate isn't going back to 3%. LOL. Trump will do that. Well, I would love to say that Trump could do that. And look, I'm I don't know. On a different channel called Chris Uncensored, I talk a lot more about my political opinions. I talk a lot more about my uncensored opinions on lots of other subjects that have nothing to do with real estate. But if you are interested in seeing what I think about current events or politics, then please check out Chris Uncensored. But the idea that Trump has any control over mortgage interest rates going to 3% is a complete fallacy. That's not true. He can do things to stimulate the economy. He can do things. He has lots of tools, and now he definitely has lots of the right people in which he may be able to enact policies. But the 5-year, 10-year Treasury are not going to be something that Trump can have any direct control over, right? So it's a pipe dream to think that he's going to bring interest rates to 3% on his own. Would I like to see that happen? Sure. But if you voted for Trump thinking that you're going to get a 3% mortgage interest rate, well, then I suspect you're probably going to feel like the people who were pissed off they didn't get their Obama phones back in the day when Obama was promising everything, or Kamala was offering Kamala homes, and she's going to subsidize first-time home buyers with all kinds of bullshit lies that never would have happened. That would have destroyed the economy. But I'm not suggesting that's what Trump's going to do. I'm a big fan of Trump and MAGA, and I'm very happy that he was elected. But I suspect what he's likely going to do is create an environment in which economic growth and productivity is robust. And that will have a trickle down effect on mortgage interest rates. But if you're looking for mortgage interest rates to trade at 3% anytime soon, I would tell you you're smoking crack. I think they're more likely to go to 10% before they go to 3%. There are too many things that are unaddressed that need to be fixed, that are going to be problematic and going to be painful. Please don't think that we're not in for economic pain. I think we are. But yet, there's a lot of excitement and enthusiasm that are right now in the market, in the economy, in people's heads, all of which is great. But I still think there's volatility that's going to play out. I hope you're right. If let's just role play that. If tomorrow mortgage interest rates are at 3%, well, I can promise you, well, it's going to be off to the races. And if you thought homes were unaffordable now, you ain't seen nothing yet, because they will be trading double or triple where they're trading at right now. But my suspicion is that we're probably going to be having mortgage interest rates higher for a lot longer. But who knows? I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know. I got sidetracked, but thank you for commenting. I appreciate it, and I hope I answered your question. All right, so we are now looking at Boynton Beach, single family homes. Let's look at the average. Come on, baby, let's go. Average sold price in Boynton Beach for single family homes dropped. Do I have this right? I do have this right. Dropped in October 30%. Oh, wait, that's not good. Also dropped 1.6% in November versus October. So 599 average sold price versus 609. Seems pretty reasonable for a Florida home. What I can promise you is that there's a wide variety of pricing depending on where you're at in Boynton Beach. And Boynton Beach out west, which is where I live, is extremely pricey. So I mentioned the case study earlier about the folks who are selling their home in one of the canyons. And so I want to look at that zip code, because this is West Boynton Beach is newer, better schools, better infrastructure, better everything. Everything you would want as a family is out in West Boynton Beach. Central Boynton Beach is very different, tends to feel, depending on where you're at, tends to feel a little bit less than. It's not as nice. It's a little bit older than parts of West Boynton Beach. Anything coastal and anything coastal anywhere, you're going to pay a premium for. But there are some areas within Boynton Beach or Lake Worth that are sketchy, right? So you really need to know where you're shopping before you pull the trigger on anything. And maybe pull the trigger was not the was not the right thing to say. But that being said, let's refresh this. Single family home. Uh, so Okay, so I just gave you the macro of Boynton Beach. Now I'm in the zip code of 33473. 33473 is in West Boynton. We are talking about the Canyons Enclave, which is Canyon Trails, Canyon Springs, Canyon Lakes, Canyon Isles. There are some Valencia communities that are 55 plus that are luxury that are in this zip code too. But you'll notice that the pricing is significantly higher than the macro picture that I gave, right? So the average sold price October versus September is 1150 versus 1218, down damn near 6%. And now, wowzer, a whopper double-digit loss. So 6% October versus September, and then damn near 18% November versus October. So 971 versus 1 point, rounding up 1.2, right? That is no bueno if you're thinking about selling. And so, to those sellers that I talked to earlier that are not happy, I can very easily make the argument, and would have had I been consulted sooner, that they are overpriced and they are not likely to get what they want with that type of pricing. They are not creating a market within the market in order to find the one buyer on planet Earth willing to pay more than anybody else. They are more smoking that hopium, hoping that somebody's going to overpay for a home. That's not going to happen. And if we look at today's buyer, I expect today's buyer to be much, and anybody that I ever talk to who wants to work with me, I want to ensure they understand exactly what the market dynamics are, right? So I want them to know where their leverage is and why it's there and how to employ it the right way so they get what they want. But that's going to be no matter who I'm working with, whether it's a buyer or a seller. But if you don't know where your leverage is and you don't know how to create leverage, well, then you're screwed. Um, but and not screwed. You're just not going to get what you want the right way. But month supply of inventory dropped 4% October versus September, and then it jumped 4%. So it's a wash between October, September, and November and October, right? So basically traded flat as far as month supply of inventory. Okay, so from there, let's look at go back to city. Let's look at condos. Nope. Condos. Boynton Beach condos. And the average sold versus active. And you can see the obviously the condo market in Boynton Beach is much more affordable than Boca Raton or some other places. Again, these are all macro numbers. So if you're beachfront somewhere, you're likely paying a premium, but this is what the average number is. Down 4% October versus September, up 12% November versus October, 268 versus 239. And again, macro number, all this is going to change depending on where you're shopping, but you must know what's going on. The month supply. All right. So this is volatility defined at its, this is the perfect definition or this is the perfect case study for volatility. So month supply of inventory dropped 34% October versus September. Keep in mind, it dropped from an extreme seller's market to a less extreme, I'm sorry, buyer's market. Extreme buyer's market to less extreme buyer's market. And then it skyrocketed, went parabolic up 161.7% to 21 months of inventory sitting on the market unsold. So if you are selling a condo in Boynton Beach, best of luck to you if you don't know how to price and market your home the right way. There is massive competition that you are likely competing against. And if you're thinking about buying a condo in Boynton Beach, you got all the leverage, baby, because there's 21 months of inventory from a macro perspective. And again, all of this will change when you know where you want to be and you're shopping more granularly. But if you want to know what's happening anywhere on a granular basis, please reach out and I will either let you know or connect you with someone who does if you're outside of my market. But without this information, you're basically navigating in the dark, and I don't want that for anybody. Okay, so let me just check and see where we're at with comments. And there's still 20 of you, 22 of you with me, and I'm on here for over an hour. So God bless America and God bless you. All right. I said I would cover Dade County, and I'm going to. Dade County to me is very, don't want to kid. I want the city. And I want to point out some of the condo market to me in Dade is really the most interesting market there is to study because that's where I suspect there's going to be lots of volatility. And to be clear, Miami real estate in many places is extremely pricey. They are not replicating any more waterfront or coastal or intercoastal or land in which you can max out that oceanfront experience or lifestyle, right? So there are always going to be people who are wealthy that want to max out that their ability to do so and want their boat and want their toy and want their yachts and want access to planes or their private enclave or whatever it might be. There are some extremely affluent markets that exist all over South Florida. But I like to show the condo markets. I like to start with Surfside only because Surfside is where the Champlain Towers was the condo that imploded because it was not fortified the right. And that set off a chain of events that is just horrible. But also, it's one of the reasons that we've got these assessments on condo buildings. So whether that's good, bad, right, or wrong is irrelevant. It is what it is. But I like to start with Surfside always because that's where a building literally imploded and lots of people died, and it was a horrible tragedy. Let's see what the condo market looks like in Surfside. Okay. Now it's obviously a smaller market because there were no transactions that happened in October. But what you can see is that the average sold price was up almost 8% October versus September. And the average sold price in November versus October, there was only one deal. So I can tell you it's not a big market and there's not a lot of activity. But holy crap, 65 months of inventory in October, excuse me, in November versus none in October. That can't be right because here it shows 9.7 months. So I don't, I'm assuming that there is a data, that there's something flawed in this data or in this analysis or algorithm, because I don't believe that that was zero. It could be, but 65 months of inventory is the highest number of inventory I've seen since the market absolutely imploded back in 08, 09, or whenever it imploded, right? That's so far the highest number I've seen in a real long time. 9.7 months is obviously extreme buyer's market. I think we saw 22 months earlier, but I have yet to see 65 months of inventory, period. Just haven't seen it. So that is, we will keep our finger on the pulse of that. Might be true. I don't know, but no bueno, very no bueno if you're thinking about selling in Surfside. Sunny Isles Beach, real quick, because I hear my kids desperately wanting my attention to tuck them in to go to bed. And oh shit, it's almost 9 o'clock. So past their bedtime. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up with Sunny Isles Beach. And if you want to know about any other area, reach out. I'm happy to hook you up, give you the best information so you are fully empowered to be able to make the best decisions for yourself, for your family, and for your financial bottom line. But Sunny Isles, extremely affluent, very nice place to live, very pricey. Average sold price of 27% October versus September. And wow, look at that volatility. So 2 million versus 158, October versus September. And then a complete reversal of that, down almost 40% in November. 1,066 versus 1,747. That is no bueno if you're thinking about selling in Sunny Isles Beach. And if you thought you had 40% more equity in your home and you go to sell it and find out that you don't, chances are you are probably not real happy. But if you're shopping for a property, you're probably ecstatic because chances are you're going to have a lot more leverage when buying a property. And the numbers show that the month supply of inventory skyrocketed almost 44%, 34.6 months of inventory versus 24. Massive buyer's market. No bueno if you're thinking about selling. And that is going to wrap. Let's see, what the hell am I doing here? Stop screen. Okay, and we're back. So to all 27 of you, I love you guys for watching. I hope you found this content to be valuable. If you did, please like it, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends about it. If you've got any topics you'd like me to cover, please know I will definitely take it into consideration. And as we go into December, I have started to put together a game plan for much more robust, much more comprehensive, much more consistent content that I intend to empower you guys with. So happy to do so moving forward. But hello, Barbara. This is Shirley. That's a great name. Yeah, you're right. There's obviously something going on in South Beach Tower condos, but South Florida goes bust every 15 years. You might be right. We certainly do, but for every bust, there's a boom, and for every boom, there's a bust. For every market that's for every bull market, there's a bear market, and eventually all systems implode and fail. And thankfully, we dodged the bullet with our government. So I'm hoping the future looks bright. But if I can ever serve or support you in any way, please reach out. We would love to. If you are out of my market and need help finding a real estate or mortgage professional, we would love to help. You can reach me at the website or the email down below. If you want to reach out and call me, my phone number is located down below, and you can do that. No, what's the number? What's the number, girl? No, it's not. I don't know if they could heard because I had the earbuds in. 561. Come on. Come on. What else? 561. Yeah, give me five. Let's go. Give me five. Let's go. All right, let's go to bed. Love you guys. See you on the next one. Until next time. Peace. You want to say peace? You're not even on the screen. Peace. All right. See you soon.